Hello and welcome to this week's Art Talk. So, something that I often hear in a lot of places and read in newspaper articles is that art is purely subjective, which means everybody is allowed their own opinion as to what art is. You're the subject, you decide. Do you think that's correct? It's actually a bit of Kant. Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher, misquoted a bit actually, because he said art is purely subjective, but, and it's a big but, we presuppose a common sense that it is communicable, which means that we have to be able to talk about it. It has to be able to communicate with other people. For example, if I'm driving in my car on my own down a motorway, I am the subject alone in my car. However, I can't just say I'm subjectively driving my car on my own. I always have to look at what are other people doing. I have to be aware of everybody around me. No one is an island. So it must be communicable. We must be able to talk about it with others. If I'm only subjective, then I'm in solitary confinement. And this is pretty useless and theoretically forbidden, though there are some countries which still confine people on their own. There is no such thing as a subject on its own. We live together, and therefore we need to pay attention to everybody around us. If there are no objective criteria, it does not mean there are no criteria. An objective criteria is a criteria which you agree with others. So, for example, a zebra crossing. We all agree that a zebra crossing is there so people can safely cross a road. That's the idea. That's an objective criteria. So, the criteria for art we have to communicate them with others. You have to understand why we have them. Art is what pleases without concept, another sentence from Immanuel Kant. But he presupposes a common sense, a common unity. So, yes, art cannot be so that we don't understand it. If there's a 5-page essay next to the artwork explaining what the art is and what the artist meant by making this artwork, then I'm very sorry, it's not art. It must be able to dialogue with you directly without you having to read the 5-page essay. You don't need a guide to show you the works of art in an art museum. They should be able to communicate with you, because there should be something in them which relates to you, which you can identify with, allowing you a bridge into that artwork. And the artwork should be open enough that you can see something in it that is different from the person maybe sitting next to you or standing next to you in the museum. A guide to the museum is helpful to put an artwork maybe into context, or to discuss composition with you, or colour. Not necessarily the art history, unless of course that's what you're interested in. So that's me and art today. There was another thing. I know I've been going on about this for the last few times, art and machines. And recently, Dr. Sharon Blackie wrote in her Substack post that things come in threes. We always had the maiden, mother, crone, right? 3. Now, I'm 53, I don't mind admitting it. Holy things come in threes. God, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Stories in myths often are threes. There's the younger brother, the middle brother, and the eldest brother. Or the older sister, the middle sister, and then the younger sister who gets the prince. Things come in threes, but these things that come in threes are often spiritual or soul stories, mythologies. And Sharon said, well, why don't we think about 4 stages of our lives? So we have spring, summer, autumn, winter. And my answer to this is, well, of course, that makes perfect sense. Because quite frankly, I don't think I'm necessarily in the summer of my life anymore, but I'm not yet in winter, I hope. So yes, I'm probably in autumn. And as I always say, as humans, we are part of nature. But we have spirit. And we're always looking for the spiritual. We live in an ensouled world, and we also have soul. Therefore, it stands to reason that we also have 4 parts of life, like nature does: autumn, winter, spring, summer. And that's an argument that, for me, sounded absolutely logical, but I hadn't really thought of it like that before. We can reflect on this, and that makes us human. So thank you for listening, and I hope you have a lovely summer. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this art talk, leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.